fair warning before we get started on this one, I'm going to have spoilers in here. There's no way to talk about Goblet of Fire and not bring up the end. If this was a new movie, I would do a spoiler-free review than a spoiler talk, but it seems a little weird to be like spoiler-free review and spoiler talk to a movie that's a decade old. So I'm just gonna, fair warning, at the end of this, gonna have spoilers. Here we go! Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. So Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire is Harry Potter's 4th year at Hogwarts. The Death Eaters, which are the Voldemort lackeys or the Voldemort supporters, they seem to be getting a bit gutsy, like something's going down. This all happens when Hogwarts is hosting the Triwizard tournament. That's when 3 schools in all, including Hogwarts, so 2 other schools, that come to Hogwarts to take part in this Triwizard tournament. Eternal glory awaits the winner of the very dangerous Triwizard tournament. Harry Potter's too young to compete in the Triwizard tournament, nor does he want to compete. He doesn't want glory, and then the Goblet of Fire just just coughs out his name, and of course it's like, Harry Potter how? But it's a binding magical contract. Now Harry has to compete in the Triwizard tournament. And there's a lot to like about this chapter in Harry Potter's world. As the kids are getting older, the characters are getting older, the story is progressing, it's getting a bit darker. There are steps taken in here, things happen in here other Harry Potter stories have not shown yet. And this gives Harry Potter, the character, and the world a lot of flavor. You also really get the feeling that Harry Potter is ill-equipped to be in here. He is too young to be in this competition, yet he is in this competition. In the first trial, you don't see how the other 2 competitors actually get through. You just see what Harry Potter has to do, which he has to take on this dragon and steal its golden egg. And he has to outsmart this thing. It's kind of like when you're playing an RPG or an MMO and you're totally ill-equipped. You can't handle this boss, but you have to. So you try to clip around walls and cheap hit him, or maybe get up on a rock. Do your best to get the egg without him actually hitting you. Remember when you farmed the shock arrows in Breath of the Wild the first time? Lot like that. But it is a bummer that you don't see how Victor, Fleur, and Cedric Diggory, the other competitors in the Triwizard tournament, got through their dragons. But in the second competition, they have to go down in this lake and retrieve a friend, which means they have to hold their breath underwater for an hour, and Harry's like, I don't know how to do that. This is when you really see that Harry is ill-equipped, because Cedric Diggory, I mean, everyone has bubble charms on their heads. Like, oh yeah, bubble charm, I can breathe underwater now. You get the feeling it was no problem for them. Victor Crumb he's a shark. But Harry had to learn from someone who learned from someone that gillyweed grows gills. He had no idea how to do this. That's when you really feel like you're like, you don't have the spells necessary, man. Hogwarts is once again, I love how they grade on a curve. The second competition, Harry's like, I finished last, I suck. Dumbledore's like, but you know, since you swell and you showed sportsmanship, screw it, you get a silver medal. So now he's in second place because Dumbledore said so. I call shenanigans on that. Like, wouldn't anyone be like, this is kind of fixed. Is it as weird as using the word shenanigans in a sentence? No, whatever. And we cannot talk about this movie without talking about the new Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher, MadEye Moody. Alistair Moody is the best. Best Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher they will ever have in Harry Potter. He's an Auror, he's hardcore. Aurors are wizards that ultimately hunt down bad wizards. They're narcs, pretty much, but in the wizard world. Well, since I already gave you the spoiler alert, funny thing is he's not actually MadEye Moody. He's Barty Crouch Jr., and he does that little tongue thing, and I don't know why he really does it. Everything you know about MadEye Moody says that this guy is MadEye Moody, but he's totally not MadEye Moody. At no point does he act like Barty Crouch Jr., so this awesome MadEye Moody who's supposed to be crazy, but super hardcore. It's not actually him. He's not the guy. So when you meet MadEye Moody later on in the series, you're like, I've never met you before, but everything I know about you is from that other guy, and it feels like it translates to actually being you. He does show the 3 unforgivable spells, though. The Imperious Curse, the Cruciatus Curse, and the Killing Curse. All of which you learn about, you're like, yeah, that'd be pretty, you shouldn't do that in the wizard world. It just makes the world a bit more real, a bit more filled out. The fact that there are these curses that you're not supposed to do. You cannot do them. If you do, you go right to Azkaban. We all learned about that shit. Whenever a movie really fleshes out the rules of the world and the universe, it just makes it feel more alive. If this entire series went on without unforgivable forbidden curses, wouldn't be as interesting to me. But there are some tonal shifts in the movie where you're like, it's not always meshing well. I thought it was really sweet that they have to go to this Yule Ball because there's a tradition of the Triwizard tournament. I like that, and as someone who was a nerd in high school, it's very much like you're like, getting a date sucks. The fact that they did that makes them one step ahead of me. However, Ron Weasley was a bit of a dick in this movie. He just was, to the point of unlikability. I know they're playing up the teenage angst thing, and they are at the age to where they need to do that. Ron's all pissed off at Harry because he feels like he's just Harry's sidekick. I do get it. But it just comes across as so petty when you're watching it. You're like, dude, you gotta get over it. And if it were just that, that would be enough. But then there's a scene where he has an exchange with Hermione at the ball, and he completely ruins her night. You're like, Ron, just go away. But he's his friend, so he keeps him around because friendship and friends, they're very important. But for this story, you just look at Ron, you're like, you're nothing but a hindrance in this one, man. I mean, even Neville Longbottom showed him how to breathe underwater. So even Neville, who is seen as a hindrance, is a likable hindrance who is contributing. Thus, he is not actually a hindrance. Ron's just being a pain in the ass in here. However, the last trial is this maze, and the maze is super claustrophobic. I love that about the maze. You're in there and you're like, I don't know, should I look around corners? You don't know what's gonna happen, you don't know what's coming, the plants are alive. Deadly foliage is the scariest thing in the history of scary things, because they're not alive until they are. But in the end, here come the real spoilers. In the end of it, Cedric Diggory and Harry Potter grab the Triwizard Cup, they're gonna be champions, and then it's a portkey, and they go to this graveyard where ultimately Voldemort comes back. We've seen Voldemort before, in some weird shape or form. He's in the back of a head, or he's in Tom Riddle's diary, but we've never seen him come back. Now, my friends, the Horcruxes have done their job, they've done their part. His loyalists do their part, bring the dude back. Voldemort and Harry have a bit of a showdown in the graveyard, and it's a taste of what's to come. You lick the frosting knowing that the cake and ice cream is coming in the next movies. Not before they kill the Spare. The Spare, Cedric Diggory. Yeah, for the first time in a Harry Potter film, a kid actually dies. Kids have been in danger, kids have been petrified, but none have died. This one, this little, when he's all shriveled, Voldemort's like, kill the Spare! Wormtail just goes, Avada Kedavra, bam, just kills Cedric Diggory. Big deal in the Harry Potter world, it is. It shouldn't be, because Dumbledore says at the beginning of the Triwizard Tournament speech, he's like, this is very dangerous, you could die in the Triwizard Tournament. Then a kid dies, and it's like, oh my gosh, how shocking. It shouldn't be. This is Hogwarts. The fact that it took this long for a kid to die, that's the baffling part. Dumbledore's speech at the beginning, Matt, this just solidifies it. If a parent was given the choice, send your kid to Hogwarts, or send your kid to Predator School in 40,000 BC, where they learn to take rocks and bludgeon predators to death, ensuring a 99.9% mortality rate, but their friends might survive and feast on the carcass of the dead predator. Parents would be like, I'll send my kid there. Hogwarts just seems slightly more dangerous. In the end, Harry just has to run. He gets the portkey, gets Cedric Diggory's body, they come back. I love the scene where he comes back, because everyone's like, yay, Triwizard Tournament's over, Harry Potter won, Cedric Diggory's so good. Then a few people are like, Cedric's not moving. I think he's dead. And Harry's freaking out, he's crying. Dumbledore comes down there and he starts comforting. It's the scene where Cedric Diggory's dad comes down and breaks down. It gets me every time. Every time I see it, I just start getting a little lip quiver like, oh God. I just don't like parents seeing their kids die. And you do see Dumbledore and Harry have an exchange of sorts afterwards where it's like, Dumbledore is like, I believe you. And you don't really know why yet, you'll find out later on, but Dumbledore, you have to assume, feels a fair amount of guilt for the whole Voldemort thing. As Harry Potter, let's be honest, if Harry had let Remus, Lupin, and Sirius Black kill Wormtail in the last movie, Voldemort wouldn't have come back. Cedric Diggory would still be alive. Harry's got to live with that now. Never really addressed, but he does. But then after this whole speech where Dumbledore's like, he was killed by Voldemort, the Ministry of Magic doesn't want me to tell you, but it's true. And everyone's like crying and it's sad. The next scene, everyone's like, all right, we're going home. Let's ride every day. Things are going to be different now, aren't they? Yes. All right, let's ride each other. It's going to be great. Summer. You're like, I guess we're over it. Kid's dead, but whatever. Those slip and slides aren't going to slide themselves. Guys, in the end, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire is great and is very watchable and rewatchable. The fact that the Triwizard Tournament is broken up into 3 different trials, that makes it interesting. It's like trial 1, trial 2, trial 3. Oh shit, Voldemort's back in the end. That's a big deal. It's exciting trials mixed with an exciting end. Some of the tonal shifts in the movie don't always land. And it's the first time you really see the Harry Potter movies dealing with what book to movie translations really have to deal with a lot. And that is crushing this many pages into that much movie. A couple hundred pages a book, fine. Harry Potter books start getting into the few hundred pages, a little harder. And I will say Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire is definitely worth watching and worth buying on Blu-ray. This is noticeably the first Harry Potter movie without John Williams doing the score, and it totally shows. I mean, the music in this movie is completely fine, and it works especially in a couple scenes, but John Williams will take the music and make it its own character. And this one you just notice that's not the case. All right, guys, so Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, have you seen it? What did you think about it? And where does it rank in the hierarchy of the Harry Potter movies for you? I know this one's a bit divisive among people. Some people love it, some people don't. Want to hear what you think, so whatever you think, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.